Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet these little stars. For this pattern, you're going to need yarn of your choice. I'm going to be using a category 4 yarn. I'm also going to be needing a 5mm crochet hook, but you can use whatever yarn or hook size you prefer. You're also going to be needing some scissors, and this is optional, but I'm going to be using a darning needle. At the end, I'll show you how to weave in your ends with both a darning needle and a hook, just in case you don't have one of these. But with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to show it in the easiest way that I know. So I'm going to go ahead and take the end of my yarn, and I'm going to pick it up and loop it over the working yarn like so. And then I'm going to pick this loop up and then put my thumb and my index finger into that loop like so. And then I'm going to take those two fingers and then pinch my working yarn like so. And then all I'm going to do is grab this smaller strand of yarn while I still have the yarn that I pinched in my hand. Then I'm going to pull it in opposite directions, and there I have my slip knot. Now all I have to do is grab my hook, put it into the slip knot, pull, and then adjust it to the size of my hook. And there you have your slip knot. And now we're going to go ahead and start off with a chain of 2. And you don't have to make your chain too tight because we are going to be working into the very first chain that we make. So we're going to go ahead and chain 2. So I'm going to just yarn over, turn my hook downwards, pull it through for chain number 1, and then again, yarn over, turn my hook downwards, and then chain 2. And now into the very first chain that we made, we're going to do 10 single crochet stitches. So we're going to skip the last chain that we made, and we're going to work into the very first one, and we're going to do 10 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you crochet, you can move these to the side so you have more room to work with. And then just go ahead and continue until you have a total of 10 single crochet stitches. Okay, and then once you have your 10 single crochet stitches, we're going to slip stitch into the very first stitch that we made. So if you can't find it, you can always count backwards until you get to your 10th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then into that stitch, the very first one that we made, we're going to insert our hook and make a slip stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and start off with the pointy parts of our star. So to start off the second round, we're going to chain 1. And into the same place we slip stitched, we're going to go ahead and make a single crochet stitch. And into that same exact spot, we're also going to make a double crochet. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then into the next stitch, the second stitch of the round, we're going to do a double crochet, and then in that same exact space, we're going to do a single crochet. And there we have point number 1. So the repeat for this round is each point is going to be made within 2 stitches. So for the first part of the point, we're going to do a single crochet and a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, and then into the second one, we're going to do a double crochet and a single crochet, and repeat that all the way around. So let's go ahead and start with point number 2. Find the next stitch, into it, make a single crochet and a double crochet into 1 stitch. Then chain 3, and then into the stitch after that, make a double crochet and a single crochet. Okay, so basically each stitch should have 1 double crochet and 1 single crochet. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to point number 3. Find the next stitch, into it, do a single crochet and a double crochet. And then chain 3. And then into the second stitch, do a double crochet and a single crochet. Moving on to point number 4, again, single crochet and a double crochet, chain 3, and then into the next stitch, do a double crochet and a single crochet. And then for our very last point, we're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to do a single crochet, a double crochet, then we're going to chain 3, and into the last stitch we're going to do a double crochet and a single crochet. And then your star is almost ready. All we have to do now is slip stitch. So we're going to go ahead and find the next spot at the bottom, which is what I like to call a fake stitch. So we started off with 10 single crochet stitches, which we've all worked into, but we do see one little V that's left over at the end. That is where I'm going to slip stitch. So I'm going to just insert my hook into this spot right here, insert, and then grab yarn and just do a normal slip stitch. And then when you're done, chain 1, and then you can go ahead and grab your scissors and snip off. And then once it's snipped off, just go ahead and pull your hook and tighten up your yarn, and then there you have your little star. You can push and squeeze the ends to make the point more visible. And then there you have your little star. And now I'm going to show you how to sew in the ends with both a darning needle and also a hook. So with your hook, what you want to do is you want to find the back part of your work. So the front part, it's going to look a lot prettier than the back part. You can see that there's a little bit of a difference, and I'm going to sew it in into the back part. So what you want to do is you want to grab your hook, and you basically want to push your hook through the stitches around the yarn that you're trying to weave in. So I'm going to go ahead, my yarn is attached to this area. I'm going to try to push my hook through that spot. Okay, and then you can grab your yarn and pull it through that spot, and then do that over and over again until you get as weaved in as you'd like. But you can also go through a few stitches at a time, which might take a little while because you only want to get the top part of the stitches. When I push my hook through those stitches, I'm not pushing through the front part of the stitch, so you can't really see my hook. I'm only pushing it through the back loops on the back side of my star. Once I've pushed it through a couple of loops, again, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to just grab my yarn and I'm going to pull it through those loops. Okay, and since this is a small project, sometimes it's going to be a little difficult to push it in, which is totally normal because our stitches are small and they're going to be a little difficult to push into. Also considering that they're not workable stitches like we've been doing. You know how you have the little V where you work into? So it's a little difficult, it takes a little bit of time, but you basically pull it through as many times as you need, and then you snip it off. Okay, I'm going to do it one last time, pull it through, and then I'm going to grab my scissors again and I'm going to snip it off, making sure not to snip off my actual work of the star. Okay, and there we have one part of our yarn that we have threaded in, and now we're going to go ahead and find our darning needle. And I like working with a darning needle personally just because it's a lot easier to work into these stitches. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We are going to push our darning needle through the back loops on the back side of our star. So this is our front, this is the back, this is where my yarn is attached. So I'm going to find some loops nearby, and I'm going to push my needle through a few of them, and it's a lot easier to do with a needle. but we're basically doing the exact same thing. We're going to pull it through, and then I'm going to do that a couple more times, like so, and one last time. And then all we have to do is snip off the excess yarn, and there we have our little star. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to make them as soon as I can. And if you have any suggestions on how I can improve my videos, or if it'll help you follow along better, or just anything that you prefer, please let me know, because I do take comments like that seriously, and I want to improve my videos so it's easy for everybody to understand. So anyway, again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!